Okay. Hello and welcome to Story Time. It has started once again. That's right. Time for stories. Can you hear me? I'll turn my microphone up a little bit. You should be able to hear me just fine. Yes, that's right. Camera. Uh-oh. Okay, let me... Oh, that's the problem. Here we go. I forgot to plug in my other microphone. Should be fine in a moment here. There we are. Ha-ha! The better microphone is plugged in now. You should hear a significant difference in audio. You should. You know, that's a thing. You should also be hearing some spooky music. So, you know, there's that. Anyway, tonight we resume Goosebumps. As I mentioned in the Facebook group a little earlier, story time is happening slightly earlier tonight. So 9:15 as opposed to what's supposed to be the normal 10 p.m. and much earlier than what's been the usual as of late. So there's that. Anyway, tonight, like I said, we are resuming Goosebumps. I'm not going to do it in the dark tonight. Goosebumps has been a little tough to read in the dark because candles, I need to get more candles to do it effectively. So I'm just going to read it as it is, but I will include the spooky music because I think it does add a little something. So, first things first. Make sure you join the Facebook group Storytime, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. Second, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel on YouTube, Beepercorny1. Third, you can also follow me on Twitch, Brett Doesn't Game, all one word. No spaces or apostrophes or any sort of punctuation. Fourth, say no to peer pressure. And if we want to feel alive with point number 5, well, then we should better get started with story time, with the actual story, shouldn't we? So, I guess we will do that. Oh, by the way, if you would like a shout-out, make sure you leave a comment in the comments section, and I might even display it. You know, it's something I could potentially do. Just putting that out there. So, shall we? Goosebumps. Be careful what you wish for. Chapter 12. Judith and Anna weren't in school the next morning. I stared at the empty seats as I made my way to my seat in the front row. I kept turning back, searching for them, but the bell rang and they weren't there. Absent. Both absent. I wondered if the other girls on the team were absent too. I felt a cold shiver run down my back. Were they still weak and tired? Too weak and tired to come to school? I had a frightening thought. What if they never returned to normal? What if the magic never wore off? Then I had an even more frightening thought. What if Judith and Anna and the others got weaker and weaker? What if they kept getting weaker until they died? Uh-oh. And it was all my fault? All my fault. All my fault. I felt cold all over. My stomach felt as if I'd swallowed a rock. I had never felt so guilty, so horribly guilty in all my life. I tried to force these thoughts from my mind, but I couldn't. I couldn't stop thinking that they might die because of my careless wish. I'd be a murderer, I told myself with a shudder. A murderer. Sharon, our teacher, was standing right in front of me talking about something. I couldn't hear a word she said. I kept turning in my seat, staring back at the two empty chairs. Judith and Anna, what have I done to you? At lunch, I told the whole story to Corey. Of course, he just laughed at me. He had a mouthful of grilled cheese and nearly choked. Do you believe in the Easter Bunny, too? He asked. But I was in no mood for jokes. I was really upset. I stared down at my uneaten lunch and felt sick. Please take me seriously, Corey, I begged. I know it sounds dumb. You mean you're for real? He asked, his eyes studying my face. I thought you were kidding. Sam, I thought this was a story for creative writing or something. I shook my head. Listen, Corey, if you had been at the girls' basketball game yesterday afternoon, you'd know I'm not kidding. I said, leaning across the table and whispering. They were dragging around as if they were sleepwalking, I told him. It was so eerie. I was so upset, my shoulders started to shake. I covered my eyes to keep myself from crying. Okay, let's think about this, Corey said softly, his funny, crooked smile fading to a thoughtful frown. Finally, he had decided to take me seriously. I've been thinking and thinking about it all morning, I told him, still trying to force back the tears. What if I'm a murderer, Corey? What if they really die? Sam, please, he said, still frowning, his dark brown eyes studying mine. Judith and Anna are probably not even sick. You're probably making this all up in your mind. They're probably perfectly okay. No way, I muttered glumly. Oh, I know, Corey's face brightened. We can ask Audrey. Audrey? Audrey was a school nurse. It took me a while to figure out what Corey was thinking, but I finally did. He was right. When you were going to be absent, your parents had to call Audrey in the morning and tell her why. Most likely, Audrey would be able to tell us why Judith and Anna were not in school today. I jumped up, nearly knocking my chair over. Great idea, Corey, I exclaimed. I started running toward the lunchroom toward the door. Through the lunchroom toward the door. Wait, I'll come with you, Corey called, hurrying to catch up. Our sneakers pounded against the hard floor as we made our way down the long hall to the nurse's office. We found Audrey locking the door. She's a short, sort of chunky woman, about 40 or so, I guess, with bleached blonde hair, pinned up in a bun on top of her head. She always wears baggy jeans and shaggy sweaters, never a nurse's uniform. Lunchtime, she said, seeing us stop beside her. What do they have today? I'm starving. Audrey, can you tell us why Judith and Anna aren't in school today? I demanded breathlessly, ignoring her question. Huh? I was talking so fast, so excitedly, I didn't think she understood me. Judith Bellwood and Anna Frost, I repeated, my heart pounding. Why aren't they in school today? I saw surprise in Audrey's pale grey eyes, then she lowered her gaze. Judith and Anna, they're gone, she said sadly. Chapter 13. I stared at her, my mouth dropped open in horror. They're gone? Gone for at least a week, Audrey said. She bent to lock the office door. They... What? I squeaked. She had trouble pulling the key from the lock. They went to the doctor, she repeated. Their moms called this morning. They're very sick. Both girls have the flu or something. They felt weak, too weak to come to school. I breathed a sigh of relief. I was glad Audrey had been concentrating on the door lock, so she hadn't seen the horrified look on my face. Audrey hurried off down the hall. As soon as she was out of sight, I slumped against the wall. At least they're not dead, I moaned. She scared me to death. Corey shook his head. Audrey scared me too, he confessed. See, Judith and Anna just have the flu. I'm sure the doctors... They don't have the flu, I insisted. They're weak because of my wish. Call them later, he suggested. You'll see, they'll probably be much better. I can't wait till later, I said in a trembling voice. I have to do something, Corey. I have to do something to keep them from getting weaker and weaker until they shrivel up and die. Calm down, Sam. I started pacing back and forth in front of him. Some kids came hurrying by on their way to their lockers. Someone called to me, but I didn't reply. We've got to get to class, Corey said. I think you're getting all weird over nothing, Sam. If you wait till tomorrow—" "She said I have 3 wishes," I exclaimed, not hearing a word Corey was saying. "I only used 1. "Sam," Corey shook his head disapprovingly. "I've got to find her," I decided. "I've got to find that strange woman. Don't you see? I can wish to have the first wish undone. She said I get 3 wishes, so my second wish can be to erase the first." This idea was starting to make me feel a lot better, but then Corey brought me back down into my gloom with one question. "How are you going to find her, Sam?" "It's an easy question, Sam. She did bring her home after all, didn't she?" Chapter 14. I thought about Corey's question all afternoon. I barely heard a word anyone said to me. We had a vocab test near the end of the day. Okay, maybe Sam is just daft. We'll see. I stared at the words as if they were in Martian. After a while, I heard Lisa, my teacher, calling my name. She was standing right in front of me, but I don't think I heard her until the 5th or 6th try. "Are you okay, Samantha?" she asked, leaning over me. I knew she was wondering why I hadn't started my test. "I feel a little sick," I replied quietly. "I'll be okay. I'll be okay as soon as I find that weird woman and get her to erase her spell." But where will I find her? I wondered. Where? After school, I reported to the gym for basketball practice. Everyone on my team was absent, so practice was cancelled. Absent because of me. I trudged upstairs to my locker and retrieved my down jacket. As I slammed the door and locked it, I had an idea. The woods. Jeffers Woods. That's where I found Clarissa. I bet I can find her there again. Maybe it's a secret meeting place, I thought. Maybe she'll be waiting for me there. Of course she will, I told myself, giving myself a pep talk. Why did it take me so long to think of this? It made perfect sense. No, it doesn't, you dum-dum. Humming to myself, I started jogging to the door. The hallway was nearly empty. I stopped when I saw a familiar figure in the doorway. Mum! "Hi, Sam," she waved to me, even though I was standing right in front of her. She had a red and white wool cap pulled over her short blonde hair and was wearing the tattered red ski jacket she always wears. She hadn't been skiing in years, but she'd liked dressing like a ski bum. "Mum, what are you doing here?" I cried, not meaning to sound as unfriendly as it did. I was eager to get to my bike and ride to Jeffers Woods. I didn't need her here. "You didn't forget about your appointment with Dr. Stone?" she asked, waving her car keys in her hand. "The orthodontist? Today?" I cried. "I can't." "You have to," she replied sternly, tugging the arm of my jacket. "You know how hard it is to get in to see Dr. Stone." "But I don't want braces," I cried, realizing I was sounding a little shrill, a little babyish. "Maybe you won't need them," Mum said, pulling me to the door. "Maybe you can get by with just a retainer. We'll do whatever Dr. Stone says." "But, Mum, I searched my mind desperately for an excuse. "I can't go with you. I have my bike here," I cried desperately. "Go get it. We'll put it in the trunk," she replied without blinking. I had no choice. I had to go with her. Sighing loudly, I pushed open the door and hurried past her toward the bike racks. I found out I'm going to be wearing braces for at least the next 6 months. I had another appointment with Dr. Stone to have them put on the next week. I suppose I should have been upset about it, but it was hard to think about braces with Judith, Anna, and the other girls on my mind. I kept picturing them wasting away, getting thinner and thinner, weaker and weaker. I kept seeing this terrifying image in my mind. I was in the gym, dribbling the ball back and forth, faster and faster, and Judith, Anna, and the others were lying flat on their backs on the bleachers, trying to watch but too weak to hold their heads up. That night after dinner, I was feeling so guilty. I called Judith to see how she was feeling. I think it was the first time in my life I had ever called her. Mrs. Bellwood answered. She sounded tired and tense. "Who is this?" she asked. I had a sudden impulse to hang up, but I told her, "It's Samantha Bird. I'm a friend from school." Some friend. I didn't put in that some friend remark. She did in the book. So, you know. "Hello, Crystal. Huzzah! Glad you're here." "I don't think Judith can come to the phone," she replied. "She's just so weak." "Did the doctor say what?" I started. I'll ask Judith if she wants to talk, Mrs. Bellwood interrupted. I could hear Judith's little brother shouting something in the background, and I could hear her cartoon music from their TV. Don't stay on too long, she instructed. Hello, Judith answered in a faint little girl voice. Oh, hi, Judith, it's me, Sam, I said, trying not to sound nervous. Sam? Again, the faint voice nearly a whisper. Sam Bird, I stammered. I just wondered how you were feeling. Sam, did you cast a spell on us? Judith asked. I gasped. How did she know? Dun, dun, dun! Well, I'll tell you what, I'll read one more chapter. I wasn't planning on it, but I'll read one more just because, it's not been that long. So I want the goosebumps to last, but still, this would be a really short story time, only 15 minutes, including my yammering. So one more chapter it is. There we go. Judith, what do you mean? I sputtered. All the girls are sick except for you, Judith replied. Anna is sick, and so is Arlene and Krista. Yes, but that doesn't mean, I started. So I think you cast a spell on us, Judith interrupted. Was she joking? Hiccups. Oof, I couldn't tell. I just hope you feel better, I mumbled awkwardly. I could hear Mrs. Bellwood in the background telling Judith she should get off the phone. So I said goodbye and hung up. I was grateful it was a short conversation, but I couldn't decide if Judith was kidding or not about my casting a spell. Thanks, Crystal. I'm going to put that one up. Her voice was really weak. She sounded so weary and lifeless. I felt angry that she had accused me, joke or not. That was so typical of Judith. Finding a way to make me angry even when I was calling to be nice. But I also felt guilty. Whether Judith had guessed it or not, I had cast a spell on her and the others. And now I had to find a way to have the spell removed. The next morning, 2 seats in my class were empty again. Judith and Anna were both absent. At lunch, I asked Corey if he wanted to come with me after school to go searching for the strange woman. No way, he cried, shaking his head. She'll probably turn me into a frog or something. Corey, can't you take me seriously? I screamed. Oh, sorry, she screamed it. Corey, can't you take this seriously? I screamed. Several kids turned to look. Give me a break, Corey muttered, blushing under his Orlando magic cap. Okay, I'm sorry, I told him. I'm really stressed out, you know. He still refused to keep me company. He made up a lame excuse about having to help his mother clean the basement. Who cleans the basement in the middle of the winter? Corey pretended he didn't believe my story about the women and the woman and the 3 wishes, but I had this feeling that maybe he was a little afraid. I was afraid too, afraid I wouldn't find her. After school, I jumped on my bike and began pedaling toward Jeffers Woods. It was a grey, blustery day. Enormous dark clouds rolled rapidly over the sky, threatening rain, maybe snow. It's a lot like the day I ran into Clarissa, I thought. For some reason, that fact encouraged me. Some kids in my class waved to me and called out, but I rode past them, leaning over the handlebars, shifting gears to pick up speed. A few minutes later, Montrose Avenue curved away from the houses that lined both sides, and the bare trees of the woods came into view. The tall trees formed a dark wall, darker than the charcoal sky above. She's got to be here, I repeated in rhythm with my pedaling feet. Got to be here, got to be here. My heart nearly leapt out of my chest when I saw her, huddled low at the edge of the road, waiting for me. Hi, I called out. Hi, it's me. Why didn't she answer? And with that, another quick reminder, everyone. Say no to peer pressure. Say no. No, no, no to peer pressure. And only one person could possibly get this reference. No, no, no. That one person would be my brother Scott. If he gets it, huzzah, Scott. Well, I suppose there's one other person who might get it. That would be Alex Henderson. But but I don't know if either of them are watching. Oh, and by the way, Trisha gets a huzzah for joining in the video as well. So, there we have it. Several huzzahs tonight. Crystal, you probably wouldn't get that reference. The reason I say is because it's a reference from a very specific time, very specific place. It was, I don't even remember the day, but it was one day in my 3rd grade class with Mr. Froley, when he was trying to get all of us, we were in a circle or something, and he was trying to get all of us to follow along. He would do clap, clap, or clap, such like that. And everyone was kind of goofing off. And without meaning to, he went, no, no, no. And everyone repeated, no, no, no. And we all started laughing. We had a good laugh. He joined in. He thought it was funny as well. So that's the story behind the no, no, no. Anyway, had fun tonight, everyone. Even though it was a shorter night, that's all right. That happens. So, go ahead and join the Facebook group, as well as friending me on Facebook if you really want, because that's how you'll best see me do this on Facebook. Like on YouTube, as well as subscribe. Do that now. And don't forget to share it so your friends can see too and they can join as well. Then go ahead and find me on Twitch if you're on Twitch. Brett Doesn't Game, all one word. And fourth, we've already been over this several times, but say no to peer pressure. So, you've got your instructions. Oh, and fifth, have yourself, that's a terrible snap, have yourself a wonderful evening, and I will see you next time. Until then, I bid you adieu. Hope you enjoyed the scary music. Goodbye, everyone, and good night.